CEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesia ni Cristo.
Don't underestimate
the power
of a single
conversation.
It could change your whole life.
INCRadio Chatline.
conversations that matter.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to Chatline for today. If you caught the thumbnail, we're talking about not just clues, but more specifically, if you can tell when someone likes us. So we're kind of starting off on kind of piggybacking off of last week. If you tuned into last week's shows, I think was it you, Arnie, that brought up this idea?
No, it was actually one of our viewers brought it up and said, "Hey, maybe
Oh,
next time you guys should talk about this." So that's where we kind of came up with the idea because we said, "Sure, let's do it." So that's where we came up with the idea.
okay. So I wasn't here last week, so I just wanted to clarify that because yes, we do want to take in whatever ideas that you guys have. So if there's any potential topics that you guys can think of, please do comment that in the chat. But not just that, please join us in our discussion today because I am the actual worst person to discuss this topic if knowing if somebody is interested in you or not because I'm so dense, Arnie. I can never tell. I'm like, are they? Are they? Are they hinting that they like me? Are they trying to make a move? I don't know.
You know what? Sometimes they make it obvious, but I think sometimes also it's not that obvious. Because even
Hmm.
for me, I think I'm very sociable, but sometimes I don't know if they are, if they're just being friendly or if they're trying to, see what's going on. Like for me, if I decide I'm going to make a move or something, right?
Hmm.
I think I make it obvious. Like I'm not very subtle.
Really?
I'm not gonna be say, "Hi, hey, how's it going?" I will like, "Ooh, you got some pretty blue eyes there," just to start it off. Because a lot of times, people like their eyes. And so when you bring it up, it kind of just, you know, it's
They light
flattery.
up.
And so
Yeah.
yeah. So I think flattery is one way that I do it. Or, I would compliment them something on what they're wearing, like, "Oh, that's such a nice shirt you got on," or, "The color blue looks good on you," and then see how they take it. A lot of times if they smile and they get all excited, then I'll start that conversation. And,
Hmm.
and then like from a pickup from last week, then you kind of throw into there like, "So, oh, your girlfriend must pick out these clothes for you." Goes, "Oh, I don't have a girlfriend," or, "Yes, I'm married," or whatever. And that's where you
It's
kind of can
smart.
tell, okay, should you keep going or should you just say, "Okay, we're done."
That's actually really smart. Just kind of gradually working it into the conversation just to get you is that a tell for you? Because I feel like especially with now, it's you have different places to kind of consider if they're actually interested in you or not. And then what I mean by that is not it's not just in person, it's also virtually. So I feel like in person it's probably more obvious than it is virtually. The live chat you can also weigh in on this as well. I don't know how much of the live chat grew up in the dating scene when there was already like social media. So I don't know the audience there, but feel free to chime in. Thoughts, Arnie?
I think it's harder online only because especially if people are typing things in and everything, we
Hmm.
don't know um
Tone.
you don't know the tone. And like one time someone said, "Why are you mad?" What are you talking about? Goes, "You're all in caps." And I'm like, "Okay, I don't know. I got lazy and didn't want to take the caps lock off and I was just typing, but I'm not angry." And so
Hmm.
sometimes you don't know what the tone is when people are putting chats in either in a text message or on social media. So for me, if let's say I'm going to send a message and everything's good, I'll put, the happy face or the laughing face so that they know I'm kidding, right?
Right.
And if I do the whole complimenting, I do the little one with a one wink to kind of like, or that emoji that goes, I try to be playful with, because I never used to use emojis before, but I try to kind of like playful put one in there so that they kind of know what the tone is, and they're
Hmm.
not just wondering, so is she serious, is she not, things like that. I think that's one way to do it.
Okay. Live chat. I'm interested in stuff that you have to say. One thing that I do want to I want to point out is, non-negotiable. Of course, whenever you are approaching someone that you like, you do it in a respectful way, right? And not
Yes.
like, be yourself still. Like, don't try to pretend that you're something that you're not. But I
Yes.
I feel like everybody has their own ways of, I don't know, of like maybe gauging. Because I feel like when you're first interacting with a person that you like, you're also kind of gauging them at the same time on what's the best way to kind of let them know that you're interested. But again,
Mhm.
I never get those signals because I'm just like in
and,
my
and
own world.
And it's funny you bring that up because in the live chat, Brother Andre did say that. He said, approach, respectful, honest, and making sure to be yourself. And I think that's really important because you can only pretend for so long who you are.
Hmm. Yeah,
Eventually, your true colors are going to come out. So I say be honest from the start.
yeah.
And I'm the type of person where, what you see is what you get. I'm not going to pretend like, I'm shy and timid when
Hmm.
I'm really not. You know?
Or what I've seen, like people feigning like the same interest. Like, don't pretend you're into the same things, like just to
Yes,
to win them over. Like
yes.
that's not a good. That's like a
I, I
tactic at that
I
point.
think
I
when
feel.
I was younger, I used to do that, because, for me, I love sports, right? But
Yeah.
there's some sports I didn't like too much. But if a guy was really interested in it, I pretended like, yeah, I like that sport too. But then
Mhm.
now I start saying, you know what? No, if I don't like your music, I will flat out tell you, I kind of don't like to listen to that. Or if you talk about movies, like, oh, yeah, I'm a Harry Potter fan. I'll say, oh, no, I'm not. Like, I'm not scared to say that anymore. And so I think, being honest of what you like and you dislike, because I've seen it multiple times where people pretend like they like Harry
Yeah.
Potter
Hmm.
and then they get into arguments because, like, man, you made me watch Harry Potter all the time, things like that. So yes.
Yeah. Genuineness is definitely something to consider.
Yes.
I see something from Noel de Rosario. He
Yeah,
said, yeah, kind gestures can be misinterpreted by either gender as signs of romantic interest. Unfortunately, there's no rule book or guide to help navigate these situations, which is so true. I wish there
yes.
was, though. Because
Yeah, and even with that one, because so like I said, I'm a touchy feely type of a person. So sometimes when I'm
you're
talking to somebody, I'll
affectionate.
touch their
Yeah.
shoulder, things like
Hmm.
that, right? But if I don't want them to take it in the wrong way, I'll throw in words like, "Oh, I'm so glad we're friends," or "You're
Yeah.
such a good friend," so that
Hmm.
hopefully they don't take it the wrong way.
Yeah, I feel you with that one. Like, I'm affectionate in general, so I'm always careful, especially with my guy friends. They're just like, oh, like single arm, like pat, or like
Mhm.
stuff like that, safe distance, just so that, because I feel like, well, I'm not one to talk. I don't interpret anything. I'm just kind of like, oh, I didn't even know that you liked me. They're just like, yeah, that was like years ago. It's like, oh, that's nice to know. I liked you too.
See, but
Whoops, missed
yeah,
opportunity, but it's okay.
missed opportunity. But you know what? Things happen for a
Yeah,
reason, right?
things happen for a reason. Yeah,
Yeah.
just right timing. I also see from the chat, JC said you're shy, but I know that you're also married, JC Jumal. So what was your? I'm curious what your approach was, especially for the married ones there, because I know there's a lot of the married couples there in the live chat. What was your approach to let your now spouse know that you were interested in them? Because I feel like
Or
it might be different, girls versus guys, right? They do.
yeah. And not even like their current spouse, it could be like maybe someone that had dated before, right? Or
True.
just or
Hmm.
even like in a friendship way, like how do you approach people just to be friends? And like I said, for me,
Mm.
I don't approach people to be friends. I normally approach them because I think they're good looking, or I think it's somebody that I could be interested in. And then I think it only becomes more of a friendship when I realize, oh, they're married or they've got a girlfriend. Because, it's like once you find that out, then it should be off limits. You know what I mean? I think that's really important. I think people need to
Mhm.
set boundaries
Yeah.
where if you find out someone's dating somebody else or somebody's married, then hey, if you want to be friends, that's fine. But then, the whole trying to put the moves on them, that should end.
For sure, for sure.
right?
I saw something from Ronnie too. He said just be audacious. So like having, because when I think about audacity, it sounds kind of intense. So maybe I'll rework that to be like confidence, like having the confidence. Have you ever been in a situation where someone directly told you, Arnie, like, I'm interested in you, or I really like you, could I?
No, because if that would have happened, I'd probably be married by now. No, I think like when I was younger, when I was, I think I was just so busy with doing different things, I
Uh-huh.
never paid attention to it. And so people did say, I liked you back then, and I thought you knew, and I'm like, no, I didn't
I
know.
thought you knew.
But my thing is, I'm kind of glad I didn't know, because it would have been one of those awkward moments, especially when you see somebody like as a brother, right? You like as a
Yeah,
younger brother,
yeah,
and then they start to like you. I think that just kind of makes it a little bit more difficult, because you don't want to hurt them, because they are your friends, but you just don't have that interest. And
yeah.
so I was like, when he told me he was already married and everything, and I'm like, well, I'm kind of glad I didn't know back then, because I don't think I would have
Reciprocated.
that, and I don't
Yeah.
think I would have done it the right way. I would have just flat out said, "What are you talking about? Are you crazy? We're brothers and sisters." So yeah.
Okay. Okay. It's interesting because I wish we had some of the guys here to get like their perspective on it. Because typically, when you think of someone hinting, it's the
Mhm.
guy that takes the move first, right? They usually initiate first. Not all the time, maybe.
I don't know. I mean, because especially in our times, like how I see it now, I see the youth where they're just so into their gadgets or into their video games that they don't even
Mm,
approach people anymore. And so
true.
for me, if you're a girl and you like someone, I say it's okay to approach them. But Brother Jay said, be respectful and all that stuff. But sometimes, you know, some guys are just clueless, and so sometimes you may have to
Okay.
give them a little clue. you know
Uh,
um you see what Brother Renz wrote? I got friend zoned a lot back then.
Oh
And that
no,
was
that's
shameful
okay.
part of my younger years.
That's okay. That does happen. And I think that's part of it too, to be really careful, like what Noel was saying earlier. Whenever you're interpreting something, you kind of have to give benefit of the doubt on the other end of it. Like if they're being extra nice, or they're joking with you, that could just like you can. But there's a phrase that people say now, like delulu. Have you heard that, Arnie?
Which
Where they're like
one?
they say now, like delulu, like I'm being delusional. Like I feel
Mhm.
like what kind of caused that is the whole K drama like scene where you have this interaction with a guy, like you lock eyes and you think that, oh, like maybe he's interested in me, but in reality what he's actually looking at is that you have food in your teeth, like that kind of like that kind of thing, where you just have to be careful of the nuances. I feel like don't overdo it if you have no certainty. I feel like frequency is also another part to it too. Like how often are they trying to, like joke with you, make comments with you, or maybe hint at things? I don't
I think for me, it's like if they go out of their way to do things for you, then that kind of is a hint, because like
know.
what they wouldn't normally do for their other friends. But JC did put something in the chat that I thought was pretty interesting. He said, give them a slight tap on the shoulder and say, Psst, I'm here.
Does that work? Is that what
if,
you did,
if
Chase?
that only worked, then that would be
I
the
don't know
easiest
about
way,
that.
right?
I saw from Brother Andre. He said you can feel if someone is interested if you're conscious about it. We're
Uh-huh.
wired for it. So I think that's true to some point, right? Because we kind of get that hunch, but we don't always act on it because we're not sure. So I feel like one of the best policies is always to be a little more direct, or like
Mhm.
be okay with being direct. Like you don't have to say directly like, "Oh, I really like you," or you be like, "I'd like to get to know you more." Like that
Uh-huh.
kind of thing where you show that you're initiating. I feel like you're showing you're looking towards something. I don't know. I've only been in one relationship, so
Oh.
I can't
See,
say.
see, Ren says, you could say something like, "I'm here if you need me," right? And that's the thing,
Mm,
because like,
but
would
that's
you
a
say
friend
that?
thing too, though.
See, but I don't know, because I think sometimes when you like someone, you'll do more things for them than you would with your regular friends. You know, like, would you literally drive out of the way to pick somebody up if you really didn't like them? You know what I
That's
mean?
true.
Like, if they're on the way, sure, you'll pick everybody up, right?
Yeah.
But would you go out of the way to pick someone up unless you really like them? And
Hmm.
so, and that's what it was like for me. I think when I was interested in people, like, I would go totally out of my way, and I'm like, did you not get the hint? Like, do you really think I'm willing to drive 30 minutes the opposite way just for a friend?
Right. I don't know. I've seen that. I've seen that in media, and I've seen that in real life too, where
Mhm.
we bank so much, I think, on the miscommunication. I don't know if it's because we think that it's like, it's more exciting that way, but I feel like the safest bet is always to just be like, I think I'm interested in you. Is that okay? If Because that happened to me recently, where someone just straight, like, it was after we had met at an activity, and then it was
Mhm.
probably like a few weeks after they had gotten my number, and then they messaged it like, it was really nice meeting you. Would you want to like hang out sometime? And then I was like,
Mhm.
that's never happened to me before. And I was like, oh, okay. And I respectfully declined, but I was so like pleasantly surprised at the directness of it, that it was nice to have it just be clear like that, because I feel like when it's not clear, you're kind of just, you're guessing, you're having this guessing game. You're like, what, like what's going on, like, are they
Yeah.
into me or not? Like,
See, and I wish that would have happened for me, because I mean, just to think about it now,
mhm,
in my past relationships, I realized I was the one who initiated. I was the one who went up to the person and told them, "Hey, you look good," or whatever, things like that. And so I don't know, maybe that's why. Maybe I should wait for someone to come up to me.
I don't know, maybe our roles are reversed, but that's the thing too, because sometimes someone might be interested in you, like just interested, but they're not ready. Like, I feel like I'm
Mhm.
in that place where I'm not in the place where I want to be in a relationship right now. But that doesn't mean that I'm not, considering like stuff
Yeah,
that's around, right? But it's just different. So you kind of have to uh tread carefully, I feel like,
yeah.
sometimes when dealing with
Well,
this.
Oliver said there is still hope to escape the friend zone. So I don't know if there really is. And then Ren said that his signature move is want to hang out. And that I think works a
Mm,
lot,
yeah.
especially like, let's say you do the friend hangout first with a bunch of other
Hmm.
friends.
Yeah.
And I like that one, because then you can kind of see how they are, because normally they're themselves with their friends. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because
Agreed.
if they're pretending to be someone else, their friends are going to call them out on it in front of
Hmm.
everybody. And so I think when you do the whole hangout with their friends, I think that is a good indication to see who they are, and then from there, because that has happened to me a few times where I did the whole friend hangout because I thought this person would be what I thought, and I'm
Hmm.
like, yeah, never mind, Leah, let's just be friends, because you see how they are, and so yeah.
It's interesting because I feel like with our brains, it's wired different, because I'm looking at the live chat. I feel like the guys get more pressure than we do. No, they get more pressure than we do. So I wonder what it's like for them when it comes to, if like they're interested in a girl, like do their guy friends pressure? Because I feel like as in like girlhood and girl friendships, we don't really do that to each other as much. No
Yeah, no, I think, and I don't know, and with the guys, I don't know if it's more pressure. I think maybe sometimes
expectation.
they'll get ragged on more, right? Especially
Mm,
if they like somebody, like they'll make fun of them. That's how I've seen my guy friends act when somebody likes somebody. But I don't know about pressure, unless everyone in their group already has a girlfriend or
mm,
boyfriend or married.
true.
Then maybe that's where they may feel it. Because for a while, that's how I felt, because all my friends are married already, and so every time we would hang out, they were like, "Hey, find somebody," and I'm like, "You guys need to find me somebody." I go, "You guys keep telling me you're going to hook me up with someone, but y'all ain't doing your job." And so,
Okay, real quick speed round, especially for those in the live chat. What counts as giving a clue? What counts as giving a clue for you? What counts as some for you, Arnie?
I say, if someone like, "Hey, how you doing?" that, because I don't think you would do that just to regular people. Or like a little, a wink here and there. I think that
Uh-huh.
kind of gives you a clue, because I don't think you'd wink at everybody. I think
Right.
that's one. What about you?
Well, I only realize it in retrospect when people are flirting because I feel like a lot of the time that it's happened to me, it's been online. So that's my thing. It's never been really in person. I think people just talk to me. Well, maybe I don't know. I think people normally just talk to me in person, but online, it's like those corny jokes where you're
Uh-huh.
just like, you, what is it? You're the only 10 I see. Something about Tennessee. You know
Yeah,
what I'm talking
yeah,
about? That
yeah.
like they'll say stuff like
Pick up
that.
lines. Pick up
Yeah,
lines.
they're
Yeah.
like wholesome, corny pickup lines, and you think that they're just joking, but sometimes they're like half meant, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
didn't know.
See,
Sorry.
like here, if we see the blue paw print, that's a clue for us. What is the blue paw print?
Oh, that's a
What is that?
reference to a show. I think
Oh,
he's talking about.
yeah.
Nice one, Renz. Um, but yeah, I don't know that I would. I can't say for me. That's why I feel like I'm asking everybody else because I can never tell. I'm super dense. I'm like, I don't know.
See, I like some of the corny pickup lines that are good. Like the one that I had mentioned was like, "Ooh, I lost my number. Can I have yours?" I think that is like, because it's funny, right?
Uh-huh.
And you're asking for something, so I think that's showing some kind of interest. But then, but the hard part is when you do make that first move, and then, after a while, when you start talking and you realize, maybe not, then what do you do? Right, because all of a sudden you can't just turn it off completely, because then they're gonna wonder what's going on.
I do like what Oliver put though in the chat. He said, "Big clue. I feel when they open up to you, allow themselves to be
Yeah.
vulnerable and talk about the future."
See, but
Yeah.
but but when does that happen? That doesn't happen in the beginning,
Yeah, that
though.
doesn't happen right away. But
Now, I think when you're older, though, it does. Because I remember when I was younger, you would just like
define
beat around the
older.
bush. When you're no longer in your 20s or 30s, because when you get to a certain age, it's going to be one of those, hey, I don't want to waste time. Okay, why are we going out?
Mm,
What are your
yeah,
intentions?
yeah.
Kind of stuff.
I get that.
Back in the days, it was like, oh, who cares? Just want to hang out, sure, no big deal. But I think as you get older, and you try to say, hey, I need to know, because I don't want to waste who knows how long with this person if
Right.
it's not going to go anywhere. So
True.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there. Nate put it in there and goes, "Are you from Tennessee? Because you're at 10."
Yes.
So
Thank you. My brain could not remember. I'm like, all I remembered was you're the 10. Yeah. Anyway, I remember the punchline, but not the setup. That's okay. But thank you everyone to all the comments and your input. I hope that you enjoyed our broadcast. We're not experts here. We're just kind of sharing our own experiences on the topic, and hopefully we're all learning together on different stuff like this, because it can be awkward, I think, sometimes, or it could be nerve wracking maybe to give hints to somebody that you like, but there's always a wholesome way to go about it. Of course, respectfully, like we said, be yourself, and just be creative. I think that was one of the, the other things that was said. Be creative. So
yeah,
I don't
but
know.
Frizzell put something in here which I thought was pretty cool. He goes, when you reach your late 20s and 30s, you need a resume, and they need to have a whole PowerPoint about themselves, which is true though. But and that, I think that's one thing I did also realize as I got older. It's like back in the days, it's like, oh, you'll just go out with anybody, right? But then as you get older, you're trying to find somebody. Yeah, I need to see a resume. Do you have a job? Can you support me? Things like that, because it's no longer just hanging out for fun. It's, hey,
Mm,
can you afford a house and a car and all that stuff, right?
checking the list, right? Checking
Yes.
the
Oh, and
boxes.
then Brother Oliver said another clue is dress to impress and smell good. Yes. I think when a guy
Mm,
goes out of the way to like
presentation.
dress up, yes, and then they smell good, there's a reason for that. Because I don't think they would do it for their guy friends,
Good point. Thanks
right?
for those. Thanks for those add-ons, everyone. You can keep commenting even after the show is no longer airing, just to whatever your thoughts are, and let us know if this topic was. Hopefully, it was helpful to you. But we'll
Yeah.
see you same time next week. This has been INC Radio Chat Line. Hope to see you guys again soon. Take care, everyone. Bye.